trimming the fat. Because of the importance placed on saving face in Kildare culture, mid and high-level executives often remain employed despite failures in leadership or performance, simply because firing them public would damage the corporation's reputation. Extreme cases not altogether unknown for superiors within the corporation range accidents for executives fail to meet objectives and threaten their employer's bottom line. This eliminates the drain on corporate resources and allows them to save face. While such methods of dealing with problem employees are not discussed openly, doing so would be in horribly poor taste after all, something that lurks in the back of every corporate executive's mind. I remember hearing about Korea. Like, someone was saying that they were a teacher over there. Like, they taught English. They were from somewhere in the West. And just how dreadful it was doing it. Because they're very, like everywhere, all around the world, this is me speaking now, not what they were saying. Everywhere around the world cares about saving face. But apparently, they Asian countries seem to care even more about it. Like everyone has some sort of honor or respect system of some sort, you know, in some capacity. But apparently, like there was two problems being a English teacher over there. One was he had to be the class clown. The teacher had to the point where the kids didn't take him seriously as a teacher, and if one was misbehaving, he couldn't correct them. That was the second issue. Couldn't correct them because that would be cost the parents' face that their kid got corrected. It cost them no face that their kid was a little shit, but he couldn't correct them because he would be in trouble for dishonor, for shaming the parent kind of thing, dishonoring them, shaming them or whatever because their kid's a little shit. You just gotta put up with it. Don't know how true that is. Obviously, I'm over here in Ireland. I don't even know too much about the cultural dynamics of England. You know, I've barely been out of the the home county. Popped up to Dublin a few times, but that's it. I haven't really been many other places, so I can't really testify to my own experiences. Just what I've heard. Like everywhere cares about that to some degree and in different ways, but they seem to care differently and more intensely over there. Certainly seem to anyway. So I actually saw someone else talking about Australia and how they handle it. Like they're more casual and stuff about it, even to the point of seeming rude to people from elsewhere. And I don't even mean necessarily those countries. I mean like someone from the West turning up, the West, like Europe, America turning up. Even they will be aghast at it, kind of thing. But still, even they had their own system of it. It's just, human social dynamics. Everywhere gets their own different take on it, but the general principle still exists. So, just seeing the phrasing reminds me of it. And the few bits of Chinese, Korean stuff I've seen, it's the phrase that's been repeated a lot. So, yeah. Well, we've a bit of a problem we need to deal with, Palnai and I'm. A low-level executive here has consistently failed to live up to our standards, but because of his position and sensitivity to the corporation, simply terminating his contract would have an unfortunate effect on our stock prices. As a result, it has become necessary to, shall we say, eliminate his salary line. Yes, that works. Eliminate his salary line through alternative means. This executive and his entourage, consisting of a number of security vessels, will be stopping by a transfer station and the Hatomo system shortly. Like to fly to the transfer station and eliminate his vessel. You can do as you like with the security detail, but the elimination is not strictly necessary. Once you've completed the job, return to me. I will make sure you're amply rewarded. Now I'm waiting for someone to take issue with what I was saying. But just from the like outsider's perspective, they just seem, and from what I've heard, they seem to care quite intensely, more so than other places. Um, like from my point of view, well, I know a lot of people that practically want you to worship the ground you walk on. The worship the ground they walk on. Want you to worship the ground that they walk on. As a whole, as a generality, like ignoring the narcissists, people don't seem to care as much about that. You know, here, obviously, it's there to a point. Of course, it is. It's part of human, social like systems. It's a part of our genetics. It just we express it differently and to different degrees. Not saying it's a genetic thing. It's just like the social systems and the principle is both like just a part of our nature, and then how we express it differently changes on culture. Um, like I was seeing, there's a guy I follow online. I'm not sure what region he's from, but he's from somewhere over there. But he was saying he wouldn't really groove over there. Well, he had some connection to his heritage on that side of the world. He's very much like American raised. So wouldn't really groove over there. I also remember someone saying that. Hearing another story, I'll say this, then I'll continue playing. Um, in Japan, if your boss gives a really stupid suggestion, you just have to go along with it as part of their culture. But they love having an American there because they're not. They can get a bit of leeway on it as a damn dirty foreigner. Um, so they can tell the boss that's a stupid idea and probably keep their job. Um, Apparently, there's stores over in Japan where, unless you're pure Japanese, you're not allowed in. If I was to have a kid over there with a Japanese lady, the kid would not be allowed in. Their kid would not be allowed in. Their kid's kid would not be allowed in. A lot of people describe the place as an ethno state. So, yeah. But I'm getting off track. Oh, I mentioned narcissists. Excellent. Here are the coordinates. Yeah. I'm getting off track. Narcissists. I mentioned them before, and those homo confidence. I mentioned it the next day to Mom. I was running what I said past her because I felt like an idiot looking back on it.
Autopilot engaged. Docking permission requested. Autopilot disabled. Docking
I just need
to
docking
request accepted.
dump stuff off. She agreed with me, but she made a point of her own, saying that. How many do I have? 13. I thought it said 12 a moment ago. That narcissism has nothing whatsoever to do with confidence. And I was like thinking about it, and I was like, yeah, you're right. Because narcissists can't handle being wrong. They can't handle being disagreed with at all. The idea of them being wrong breaks their mind. So, what do? They break down. They shout the idea that they're wrong down. Hold on. Sorry, I'm completely losing my train of thought. But yeah, they shut down, they freak out, they lose their shit because they can't handle being wrong. It has nothing to do with confidence. You know, they've actually really a very weak core as a person, very weak foundation. They're certainly wrapped up in ideas of their divinity, but they've actually very little foundation as a person. So again, the person was wrong claiming narcissism didn't exist. It was just people without confidence shitting on those who had. Narcissists do exist, and they have no confidence. They're actually incredibly weak people. Something to keep in mind. Jeez, I got a lot of gubbins here. Certainly a lot of D's. I saw ore. Yeah, maybe I blurred this. Like, you know, the ore brand. But yeah. Narcissists have no real they don't have self-esteem. They're wrapped up in ideas and delusions of their divinity or their perfection, but they can't handle the idea of them being wrong. And certainly I'm not saying that if you have difficulty being wrong, you're a narcissist. I have difficulties being wrong. I have panic attacks, but that's because I dealt with people that demanded me to be perfect as a child and would go ballistic when I wasn't. And by perfect, I mean them. So, it just left a lasting mark on me. Something that I'm trying to get over. But the fact I can acknowledge that means I'm not. And as far as I know, there's no way for a narcissist to really improve. They're kind of just inherently broken. Maybe with future medical techniques and development, but even then, you couldn't actually consensually do it. You know? You would have to actually yank a narcissist and just inflict it on them. You couldn't consensually do it because they wouldn't consent to such a thing. So, yeah. Basically, the point I'm getting at is it has nothing to do with confidence in the slightest. They have actually very little confidence. They're just wrapped up in delusions. And sadly, apparently there's no way out of those delusions for them. As far as their mind is concerned, that's all there is for them. This is just how broken they are inherently. It's actually quite depressing.
Warp drive active.
I hope that's not true, that there is a way for them to work through it, to, get better. But I haven't heard of anything like that. And I would imagine it'll be one hell of an uphill fight. I'm still hoping things will sell. But yeah, I imagine it'll be one goddamn hell of an uphill fight to actually get one to break past that. If it's even possible. Oh, there they are. Oh good, there's no faction standing. Also no loot from the buildings. So yeah, no faction standing loss and no loot in the buildings. There's no bounty on these either. Okay, my frigates... No, my drones are deciding these don't exist either. Turn to drone bay. Isn't a Vespa, I know, some sort of bike aimed at women or something? Or is it like vibrator? Yeah, it's a moped. Jesus. There's a Gengar, like thing. You know Gengar from Pokemon, the final evolution of Ghastly. I never got one because you had to trade it with a friend. Well, it has a long tongue, so they've made a Gengar plush, and it has its long tongue in its mouth. You can roll it out, lie on it as a mat, and with your head in the Gengar, which is, plush, fluffy, toy. It would work to some degree as a pillow. And there's pictures of an executive just like on his side, a guy in a suit, um, just on his side, wrapped in the Gengar's tongue. Not lying the length of it, but lying, it's one way. He's lying it's basically like a plus sign, basically, wrapped in the tongue. Then another one of him, like, on his knees, head on the table in the Gengar's mouth. Funny. He just looks... Oh... He just looks dead in the second one, just like someone... He just, like, collapsed down, head into the Gengar's mouth, just dead. Oh, jeez. Given the work ethic over there, that might be a case. If you haven't heard of them, there's a thing called a black company over in Japan. They've been referenced in a variety of different things, but still, you may or may not have heard of them. I know I didn't hear of them till last year. No, year before. 2019. Ooh, I got some dog tags. Glenn will like these. But, and yet no faction loss. But yeah,
Autopilot engaged.
but the black company, at least in regards to Japan, means a company where you're basically their slave. To be flippant. They'll work you all hours. They'll work you ragged. Typically, you will end up sleeping at the company. There's constant abuse, power plays going on to grind you down. And if they want to fire you, they don't fire you. Apparently, they send you home to be on standby, and then just never call you. There's tons of really shitty manipulation and just breaking and ruining people. And one chick committed, I know one chick, they have it on the Wikipedia article, due to the abuse she suffered at the company, she suicided over it.
Autopilot jumping.
She suicided over it, and others have died. I think others have died due to it, but I can't remember any details. I know she suicided, but I can't remember anything else. But yeah, it's quite a big problem over there. I'm sure black companies are a global thing to one degree or another. But you know, like different areas get known for different kind of things. They're, I guess they're kind of the, I keep wanting to use the phrase exemplar, but they're just like the poster child of it, you know?
Approaching station.
So, yeah, Japan, they're the poster child of them. So, yeah, hopefully they'll get that dealt with.
Docking permission requested. Docking request accepted. Docking permission requested.
Yeah, I think it's kind of, I can't, I think it's kind of internal issue they need to sort out. So, ooh, what's this? Session changing. But yeah, yeah, it's probably just internal issue they need to deal with. Like it probably factors in a bit with, like I was saying, their work ethic of. Actually, no, I may have talked with with mom about that. They've apparently they had it over in England, America, a live to work philosophy for a while, and then eventually eased off. But it's very strong over in Japan. Imagine they would have to change that and ease off on that, because it is grinding a lot of people into the dirt, wearing them down. There was a comic I was saying. Remember I mentioned Kamen Rider? It was a little comic apparently about the meeting between him, the guy who came up with that, among many other works like Cyborg 009 and different things. He he was behind the Japanese Spider-Man thing, which is apparently where they got the idea for, you know, in that kind of show for, you know, to have like a giant mech fight, you know, that you'd see in Power Rangers. Apparently originated there, according to the limited Wikipedia reading I've done. So, it was a meeting anyway between him, another guy, and an older artist that they were both fans of. Then the older guy was telling them that no matter how much work he had, he made sure he got like 8 to 10 hours sleep a night. And they were shocked, and they had been saying how like they had been awake for the last 3 days working, and they were wrecked and everything. And people were saying that those two died early on, like maybe their 50s, their 60s, and they were pretty battered down at that point. They died sickly. While the other guy, he was like 80s, 90s. He lived longer, and like one of his last posts on Twitter was like about the burger plate joint he just went to. You know, he they when they went, they went earlier, and they were sickly and weakened for a fair period before it. Oh, he tanked it that bit better, possibly down to his better lifestyle. I've kind of gotten off track, but it was just like, oh yeah, I remember this. Which, it is quite sad. And apparently the guy behind the Kamen Rider thing never got to... He'd passed before a revival series of Kamen Rider came out, which is sad. Wonder what you think of all the ones that came after. You know? I was looking up about them. X-Aid came out in 2016 to 2017. Like, they do a year. Like, there's Kuga, that lasted a year, 2000 to 2001, January to January. 49 episodes, a few specials, and there's a new season, Kagita, after it, or Agata, or something. And, you know, another 40-odd episodes. That got a movie, 6 million budget. X-Aid got like 8 movies, and tons of specials, as well as the 40-odd episodes. It's insane. And again, I wonder what you'd think of like just how insanely well it did. Because for a time they did like 9 series, and it died off with Kuga being the revival and the 10th one, and the first one of the new era. Japan, something I heard in passing, but never really knew too much about till now. has different eras to their calendar. It ties in with their emperors. It's you know how I don't. At least they haven't really done it in the history I've covered, but they might talk about the Tudor dynasty and the period of rule there. It's kind of like that, but they take it more seriously over there. It seems like the when Kamen Rider originally came out, it was during the Showa era, which sent from the 20s or the 30s to maybe the 20s to 89. Um, and it was under one emperor. When he, why does this keep disconnecting? People do DDoS EVE Online a bit. Could be that. Could be my own internet. Where's the cable? Okay, I'm going to just connect my phone and use that internet and see if that's better. But I can explain this while I'm doing it. So, it needs charging anyway. But when the Emperor during the Showa period passed, they retroactively renamed him to Emperor Showa, apparently. And then when he passed, his son took over as emperor. He ascended to the throne. And Hensai? I can't remember the name of that period. I knew it up to when I needed to repeat it. I was mentioning it to a friend earlier, and my mind blanked on it then too. My brain just decides to forget things the moment I need them. But just to make damn sure it actually acknowledges the phone, because I find if the Ethernet's still plugged in, it just insists upon it, even if the phone's there. But come on, use the goddamn phone. But yeah, so yeah, they renamed the emperor to Emperor Showa, and then the son took over and had a new era. He abdicated in 2019, April, I believe. So that was the end of that era, and I don't know what's the current one. I remember reading it earlier, but now my mind's blanked at too. Though I wonder, since the guy abdicated, wonder if he got renamed, or did they just kind of, just stride along and keep going? Because abdications are typically awkward affairs. Typically. So, uno momento. Yeah, I really lost my train of thought there towards the end. Apologies about that. But, yeah, they have different periods of, to it.
Connecting.
Don't really have an equivalent over here. Or, to my knowledge, at all in the West. But I suppose we don't really have emperors. So, massive cultural difference there. But, yeah, those different eras seem to so coincide with the different reigns of emperors. To the point of, and even going so far as to, after the emperor's reign is done, renaming them after the era. Wonder if the emperor has any say in the naming of it, or like who decides to name the eras. Is it the emperor, or is it someone else? Like, what's the system for it? No, didn't bother looking into it earlier. I only thought of that now. But Hensai, was that the last? I don't know. But yeah, the first 9 came out in Showa, and then they suffered. This series stopped till late 90s when in 99 they announced Kuga was coming out. Yeah, which happened in 2000. And since then they've done a series a year, and movies and specials and everything. It's Like, there's so much more to it than I expected. Like, I didn't expect when, that there was, like, a series there with 8 movies to it. And just that one, you know? There's 10 plus movies, I'm sure, of the series. As a whole. And that's insane, you know? It's mad. Like the Amazon Riders thing, the remake got 2 series, 2 seasons, and then a movie to finish off the story. And there's X-Aid with 8, 9 movies. But to be fair, God's in it, so I think that's the one where he refers to himself as God. There's a character in it. I can never remember his name right. Keep on saying Cabot. It begins with K. Dan. I'll just call him Dan. Dan, from what I was reading, appears in one series and is full of himself. Then that series gets somewhat retconned by another one due to timeline shenanigans or something. I vaguely remember reading something online. I don't know how accurate it is. I could have dreamt it for all I know. And then he appears in another one where he's a complete narcissist. He's even more so. Because, whatever happened in the other thing didn't happen. And he ends up referring to himself as God at one point. But part of the joke is that the actor himself has ridiculously high stats. People were joking it's what happens when you play a game on New Game Plus. Others were just referring to the actor himself as God. Like, the guy's not only a male model, actor, he's a licensed pharmacist, he's taught himself English, he's taken an astronaut certification course, he's skilled in multiple musical instruments, multiple sports, and he's part of Japanese Mensa. He's also 8 years older than me. He's in his early 30s. 33 or so. I feel quite diminished thinking about his accomplishments. It's laugh or cry right now. Okay, you can hear me, you can hear the game, you can see my screen, and I'm indeed recording 35, 36, 37, 38, 39. Let us continue. Sup, fucker? I'm back, and I've committed murder. I'm glad to hear that, Palanai. Perhaps with him out of the way, that division will begin to show up the profit we had been expecting for the last year.